Gold Squad TV. We back, bitches. Um, so I wanted to kind of follow up on my video last night about the Celtics. I'm in a much better space than I was last night. Um, I still hold JB and JT accountable, but I think a lot of y'all misunderstood what I said by doing that. I'm not in any way, shape, or form blaming them for the season struggles. What I'm blaming them for was yesterday's game. You can see points in times where they were caught jogging, not getting back on defense. Everybody wants to point out to what Danny Ainge isn't doing and what Brad Stevens isn't doing. And believe me, I'll be the first one to tell you, both those motherfuckers are on my hot seat. I don't like either one of them. I've never liked Danny Ainge. I didn't like him as a player. I really don't like him as a GM or a president of basketball operations. I've never liked Danny. So let me make that clear before ending. Trust me, I'd be first one normally to blame Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge. But JT and JB got to take the blame for that loss last night. I'm not seeing enough leadership from them, which is why I'm saying it's not enough to just score 29 points and 28 points respectively. You guys now got to understand, when everybody wants to always use the age excuse for them, it's convenient because they've been to 2 Eastern Conference Finals. They've been to a semifinals. They have not missed the playoffs their whole career. And one of my homies brought up a point to me that maybe they need this season. Maybe they need this type of low because they've never experienced this before. A season like this is going to make Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown much stronger next season. So the bright spot is I'm not killing them respectfully for a whole season's work. I think they need to go through this because they haven't had, outside of the 2019 season, they still had 48 wins that year. They were no threat to lose, not make the playoffs. They finished 4th. This year's been by far the worst season they've ever had as a team since they've been together. So that said, all I'm gonna sit here and say is I'm not giving those young cats an excuse. They've already done more in about the first 4 or 5 years they've been in the league than most players have done in a whole career. That said, they just need a wake-up call. They need to learn from this. They need to learn from these experiences. And I'm not going to be on their head too much, but they need to show up and they need to be leaders. You can't be the best players on the team and you're not the leaders. I believe JB could be a really good leader. You need to jog back up court, man. You can't be jacking up shots, and then when you miss them, you don't go back on defense. Seen that happen way too many times. You're too talented and too good as a one-on-one defender. Just be letting guys go by you. And Jason Tatum is way more guilty of the jogging back on defense than anything. He got dunked on by Isaac Okoro for whatever it's worth. And a lot of it had to do more with the fact that he jogged halfway through that whole thing. There was no urgency to really block the shot until he knew he was about to go for the dunk. And then he went and jumped. And got posterized. Marcus Smart jacking up threes in back-to-back games is a problem. He jacked up threes in crunch time multiple times, not just Cleveland, but the Utah game as well. He needs to be called to the carpet for that. But let's talk about the rest of the roster. Peyton Pritchard might be the only draft pick Danny Ainge has made over the last, since Tatum, that it's made sense. Peyton Pritchard's a long stay. I need to keep Peyton Pritchard. The rest of those guys, although I don't think they're as bad as the coach makes them look like, between Pritchard and Time Lord, after them, the rest of those cats got to go. Ojale got to go. Grant Williams, as much as I hate to say it, because you know what? I'm not acting like I'm a fan of Grant Williams. I do think the kid, heart in the right space, but I just don't think he fits what we're trying to do in Boston. We need to get rid of him. We need to get rid of Ojale, got to go. He's a defender, and he's not doing his job as a defender. He got blown by a bunch of times. Javonte Green, sorry, not an NBA player. All right. Carson Edwards, not an NBA player. Trey Waters, not an NBA player. Taco Fall, not an NBA player. So, in what my man Akeem was saying about the roster being kind of whack, we've had whack benches before too and been better than this, which is why I'm going in on the Stars. That said, though, that still doesn't change the fact Danny's definitely in the hot seat for this. He needs to be held accountable for one. His lack of making moves during this past all season, just thinking we should stand pat, knowing our bench was a problem last year, and it's even bigger problem this year. Signing Jeff Teague was unacceptable. It was a bad contract in hindsight. Tristan Thompson's okay. I don't have no problem with Tristan. I think a lot of people give him flack because he's not a dominant center, but you didn't bring him in there. You brought him for offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds. You brought him for the same reason you got Canner. All right. Daniel Tice is too on and off. One day he'll have 18 and 12. The next game he'll put up like 6 points and 4 rebounds. 2 up and down. Marcus Smart's been playing terrible this year. Even when he was healthy, he was playing terrible. Kemba Walker is playing decent. I'm sure he could play a lot better, sure. Do I think he's worthy of all the trade rumors? No. I think a lot of people have been way too hard on that man. He's going to come back and score 45 on us if he goes to another team. Because I hate to break it to you people, but I'm just going to tell you people, Brad Stevens is using Kemba Walker the wrong way. He's using Kemba Walker the wrong way. When have you ever known Kemba Walker to be a shooter? Go back to his Charlotte days. Has Kemba Walker ever been known for being a long-distance shooter? The answer is no. Kyrie was a better long-distance shooter. Kemba Walker is a better mid-range shooter. Kemba Walker is good with his ball handle, top of the key, ISO, run pick and roll, get his other teammates involved. Kemba Walker averaged 6.9 assists his last year in Charlotte. They're saying Kemba Walker can't pass the ball. I beg to differ. The dude almost averaged 7 assists that year. He could pass the ball. It's the wrong system. When you got Brad Stevens running him off a curl and down screens like he's Ray Allen and having him shoot threes, that makes absolutely no sense. I've been said this for the longest, but everybody always wants to kill Kemba. Well, Kemba's not performing up to par. Kemba's not doing this. Kemba's not doing that. That Utah game, he was the only reason they got back in the game. His defense is what got them back in the game. Everybody wants to talk about how he's a bad defender. His defense 101 was really damn good last game he played. So for all the flack everybody wants to give Kemba, at least the man gives you effort. At least he gives you defense. At least he's giving you something. Now, he's only going... Now, you guys got to understand Kemba's psyche. Kemba is a team player. He's an all-star talent, but he's a team player. So he's going to do what the team asks him to do. They're asking him to be the third option. So that's what he's doing. He's passing the ball, and he's shooting off of curl screens. That's all they're asking him to do, and that's fine. He's just trying to show you he's unselfish. Now, if he was like Charlotte Kemba, I don't know if he'd be winning, but he'd be getting a lot more buckets. Everybody wants to sit there and talk about Kemba Walker's falling off. I'm like, Kemba hasn't fallen off, and that knee injury is being over-exaggerated. The knee has not been the problem this year. He had a hard time catching back up to NBA speed. That takes a lot, especially when you've been out for as long as he was. To come back, he's just starting to get his legs under him. See, you Celtics fans are horrible in a sense because some of you people expected him. You put his expectations on Kyrie expectations. Kemba Walker, yes, he was an all-star in Charlotte. Damn near almost superstar in Charlotte. Almost. I'm not going to say he was, but he was almost. You can't get mad at him for doing what the team is asking him to do. It's the same problem that people have with Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier. Both those guys did what Brad Stevens asked them to do, and they sacrificed their games. You see what Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier are doing right now. It's not a coincidence. There's a reason why Kyrie Irving left. Because they keep trying to get you to sacrifice for the betterment of the team if the team is not winning. You're not going to ask a guy that's an all-star every year to sacrifice his points for the betterment of the team. That's Celtics culture bullshit. It's got to stop. This pass the ball Princeton offense BS has got to stop. Now, as for Brad Stevens, I've said everything I need to say about Brad Stevens. You guys just need to listen to me when I say it. This man is a non-motivational coach. This man is a numbers guy. He is an analytics guy. He does not care. He was never known for his offense in college. His college offense's points per game were like 51 points a game. His team's never scored 100 points in games. And I know that's college. Well, he's practically brought the same offense to the NBA. And guess what? We're barely averaging over 100 a game. And then we can't stop anyone. The offense is too damn complicated. It's too predicated on passing the ball. How's Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown going to insert themselves and Kemba Walker going to insert themselves if other players don't know their roles and don't know where fucking the pecking order? Every team that wins in NBA history has a pecking order. The style of play that the Celtics play and implore is horrible for those three guys. It's take your turn offense. And you don't have a pecking order. Poor Kemba can't. What's Kemba supposed to do? He can't break defenses down when the offense is basically stripped to make him basically a 3-point shooter, a pick and pop 3-point shooter. How's he supposed to go to the rim? How's it that Kemba was damn near 8th in the league in free throw shooting in attempts in Charlotte? Comes to Boston, he's damn near last. Remember Kyrie's stats his last year in Boston? He was 30th in the league in free throws. Where's Kyrie's stats at the free throw line now? You guessed it. He's back to where he usually gets, about 4th or 5th in the league. Can't tell me this is not coaching, man. It's coaching and front office. With a little bit of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown not hustling and getting back. Other than that, am I being too hard on those kids? No. I'm from an old school. I'm going to hold people accountable. They need to be held accountable. As they should want to be held accountable. You mean to tell me Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum don't want to be held accountable? They should have something to want to motivate themselves for. I see too much smiling right now. I see too much, G. Willikers bullshit out there. That said, we're 20-20. We are what our record says. We're not good. Romeo Langford set to come back Friday for what I'm hearing. I'm not fucking pleased about that. They don't play Naismith for whatever reason. They won't start Time Lord no matter what. Time Lords give you a double-double every game, and they won't start him. They start Ojale in there, which makes no sense. Or they'll start Tyson Thompson, which makes no sense. Brad Stevens does not know what he's doing. Danny Ainge does not know. And you know what? For all the hard shit you give Danny Ainge, yes, he's responsible for this roster. But who's to sit there and say Danny Ainge isn't trying to make this roster friendly for Brad Stevens? So remember in 2019, we had a deep bench. The problem was all those bench guys that we had were veterans. And Brad hates veterans. So once that season ended, they went and got rid of all the veterans and just bought a bunch of rookies in there. That Grant Williams, Carson Edwards, Trey Waters, Taco Fall draft will be a blunder. It is a complete blundering. They went cheap. They did everything Brad wanted. They got a bunch of Indiana guys and Langford and Carson to be in that draft, and they've done absolutely nothing that they've been in the league. Now, granted, Langford's been hurt, and the kid could play some defense, but your best abilities are availability. Let's just be honest. That said, this team's going nowhere. I don't care what we do the next 3-4 weeks. We ain't going nowhere. I'm thinking Danny's not going to do anything at the deadline. I just hear him talking about, we got pieces, but they're quite not the right fits. Shaking it up just for the sake of shaking it up makes no sense either. So we're just in a fuck situation. I do think we're probably going to have to let Tice go. I do think we're going to have to get rid of half that bench, and we're going to have to fill that bench with veterans. You know, when the Celtics won, they had Shane Larkin, who was a veteran. They had Aaron Baines, who was a veteran. You know what I mean? They had guys that were veterans on that bench. Marcus Morris, say what you want about Morris, but he was a veteran. All right? Guys that weren't afraid to question Brad Stevens' strategy. And that's why Brad got pissed with me. When we didn't win that year, they blamed the bench. They blamed the bench. Got rid of all the vets. So you give Brad what he wants and we stink. I don't know if that's so much a Danny Ainge thing or him catering to Brad. Nevertheless, outside of Pritchard and Thompson, Pritchard and Time Lord, everybody else could go if you're going to talk bench guys. And as for Smart, I don't know what we're going to do with him because after this year, he's only going to have a year left on his deal. Does he get traded in the offseason? We just watched Milwaukee take PJ Tucker off the market. We could have made a deal. We didn't. So, Go Squad TV. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Celtics news and notes. Peace.